Lord. Welcome to Glow Godly Podcast. I am John D. Bryan. Here with me today, on my right, you have Brother Al.J. Brown. And on my left, you have Brother Ronaldo Peter. Stay tuned as we discuss the topic birth rate blues, Jamaica's demographic dilemma. There are a few questions that follow this topic that we will be looking at. But before we dive into this topic, Brother Alj, how do you feel about this topic?
Well, thank you for that question, Brother John Day. Well, this topic, it's one of importance and relevance to the country, seeing that there's a decline in the birth rates. I think it's something that we should really delve into to see what are some of the factors why it is that we're not having as much birth or an increase in the birth rates like we should be. So I think it's interesting that we into that topic.
Thank you, Brother Ronaldo. How about you?
Well, from my point of view, it's a very interesting topic because, we get a view or getting some understanding of what is literally happening nowadays because, the decline of birth rate can be something positive and it can also be negative. So, we're looking forward for this discussion.
All right, you hear from the men of God. Starting with the first question. How does Jamaica's decline in birth rate reflect shifting cultural norms and economic challenges? Brother Alj, can you attack that question for me, please?
Okay, sure thing. So one aspect of the shifting of the cultural norms is that back in the days, usually you'd have larger families. So there would have been a lack of contraceptives that would have caused that the mother and father, or baby mother and baby father, to, come together. And whenever they have, intercourse and so forth, they would have that child. So there would have been a lot more children back then. But because of the modernization, now everything is changing. There is more access to education and so forth. So because of that, especially women being more educated these days, they are, pursuing their careers, kind of holding back on marriage and minding a family and so forth. And so because of that, there's a cultural shift towards it. So yeah, that's one aspect.
All right, thank you. Well said, well said. Brother Ronaldo, what do you say?
Well, I totally agree with Brother Brown. But it really reflects a shift in the norm. Because back then, women were bearers of children. That was their main duty, to bring forth child, to stay home and look after child. But now, as there are more equal opportunities in life in the workforce, thus having less children. So instead of having more children, woman tends now to have less children and pay more attention to work and economical challenges. Yes, and that is my aspect.
Thank you. Well said. Thank you both for educating us and sharing your voice. So Jamaica's shifting demographics, Jamaica's declining birth rate is emblematic of a multifaceted societal shift influenced by both cultural evolution and economic realities. Research conducted by the University of the West Indies underscores the significant impact of economic pressures of fertility preferences among Jamaican couples. High employment rates and escalating cost of living have led many individuals to postpone or reconsider starting families. Additionally, studies published in the Caribbean Journal of Sociology highlight changing attitudes towards family size, with an increasing number of Jamaican couples prioritizing career advancement, education, and personal fulfillment over traditional family structures. These cultural shifts are reshaping the fabric of Jamaican society, contributing to a decline in birth rates.
Because it is getting harder for to buy food. It's easier to feed 2 mouths than to feed 5.
Sure.
It now remember back then school fee was nothing to that, and now you reach one time in life where school fee expensive. So when you have 5 kids and you have to find money to send 5 of them to school, and then the thing about it is the poorer set of people really having a multitude of children.
Yes.
So it's not that I am coming against them, but when you look at it in society, the rich probably have 1 or 2 kids and leave it there. So
Right.
They're more career focused and more educated as well too, in the sense, and so they would have kind of map out their life, map out their spending, everything, and more careful with how they would have lived their life or how they plan to do it.
So do you think having less children will help the economy?
I mean, yes and no, but mostly no, in the sense that in having less, there will be less of a labor force later down. So, there won't be as much people to work, and you do know that people are migrating because of the poor economy already. So the people who are already here would be migrating soon after. And then, even with the violence and so forth, the people dying and so forth, the generation is already getting a dip. So it will impact the economy, not necessarily now, but later down the line. So, yeah.
Thank you. Brother Ronaldo, do you think that having less children will impact the economy?
well, in a sense, yes, it's a yes question and it's a no question. Because basically, the less kids you have, it really helps you to grow yourself, and it even helps the government, because the less kids the government, the less kids in a foster home, the less kids in our homes, understand, and at the same time the money that is being left, that the government won't have to spend on so much kids, can probably go into something else to ensure that the kids that are here is properly taken care of. Because we're seeing in society now where majority of the youths that are losing their life are ending up in prison. They were short of something in life,
Yes.
So because of that mentality now, we have to we need, if the government didn't have to look after or probably put their hands and try to spread out, probably could group up a number of them and try to, yes, to just turn them around in a sense. And the no part to it now, boy. That I did that. Yes part, now the no part. We feel like it don't really affect it. It don't really affect it. Because one of my good friends, they tell me, say, a 2 pitney, 1 couple we have. One for each partner. So when me dead and run, the pitney take up the S spot there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
two and call it a day. I believe 2 kids and call it a day will be More than enough. The way, more than enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sirs. Thank you. Wonderful. Well, for me, I think when you look beyond the now, I believe that. Well, for me, I believe in having a lot of children, not because I have any really care for the economy or so forth. I normally look at myself, and I am not being selfish here, because I was looking at something today in the Gleaner where this woman, 33-year-old, said she wanted her tubes to be tied off where she wouldn't have any children. She's at age 33, and she does not have a child. So I was looking into this, and I was saying to myself, what will happen when this woman gets old? Who will take care of her? Who will take care of her? Because down in Jamaica here, we know that if you are to depend on family, you will just die. If you should depend on families, you will die. So if you have one or two, and normally they would say don't have one, but have two. So in case one dies, you have another one there. So I do not think it is something good to have less children, but to have more, not just to have more to contribute to our economy, but to contribute to ourselves also.
Understood.
Yes.
Remember, no. Back then, families used to have multiple children. They used to see it as an investment, because I have 6 pitney, me get 6 pitney, and in the future when me sick or me push out for them a come back, come look after me. Right. But it reach a stage in life now where you cannot expect your child to come back and look after you. You understand? Them rather push you in nursing home. Yes. You understand? So because of that now you can't say, oh, you're gonna have 6 or 7 people, and then you're gonna depend upon the kids them to come back and look after you. No, it's not like that. No. Back in the days you could have 6 people, and then say if the 6 of them come out for something good, them will come back and look after daddy or mommy. And back then they didn't have family who know would step in for look after daddy or mommy for me if I am not around. But now it reaches a stage where nobody will. And if you don't have some valuable things where you might be deadlift for one pitney, you know one there on it, because you are nothing. You understand? Yeah, and I end it there.
Education aspect of it, I wouldn't say to some extent, but I do think there could be more teachings on it, more seminars on it, family planning and so forth. I mean, in the churches you do have, moving from the government, just going to the church, you do have FTH, where it's family training all, and so you learn some from there. But yeah, I do think there could be more on it in terms of like minimizing the amount of children they have. They would have some sensitizations of that, in terms of billboards with the condoms, the contraceptives and so forth, promoting safe sex and so forth. But in terms of really going into the nitty-gritty of it, I do think there could be more shared on that by them. So yeah.
Right, thank you. Well said, well said. So moving to the third question. How can family-friendly policies mitigate the impact of Jamaica's declining birth rate on the economy? Brother Algie.
I think there could be some policies put in place, like paid parental leave for both parents.
Yes.
So mostly it's the mother get the maternity leave. I guess maybe some places might get the paternity, I'm not sure. But instilling that fully across the country, would definitely help families because, if the father is there as well, it help the mother. Sometimes the mother can experience, what is it called again, post depression when having that child.
Yeah.
Because, the child crying X amount of times a morning and so forth, and the mother having to be there with them. So having that support would help, and it being paid as well too while they're away. It would encourage other people to have more children because okay, I have my child now. I can take my time off, get the pay that I'm to get, and come back on ready for work and still get the pay and so forth. So there will be an increase in the birth rates with that, instilling a strategy like that. So that would be one that could be put in place.
Awesome, wonderful, very informative. Brother Ronaldo, what do you say?
Well, to be honest, I don't know what to say about this one. I really don't know what to say about this one. But Brother Alj really touched some points, really does. Sometimes we have some lack of, preparation and so forth towards families. The system overall, it's not an up system where, families or parents can rely on the system to say yes, them will get that help. And the thing about it, we're in a system where it's who know who. You understand? So where you might know someone and that person can push you through, so someone can get you what you need. But we're at a point now where if you don't know nobody, you just get knocked. You understand? No job security. No job security. We don't know access to farm jobs and moving forward. So it really affects us. It really does, and it all depends on how the mindset of our people ourselves too. Because I can get 6 kids and I have a mindset that the 6 of them are over college, the 6 of them are over university. And I knew persons who wash dirty clothes to ensure that them pitney, go to school, go to college. At the same time, kids are out now and they are doing well.
Yes, man.
I can recall my mother had to do a little cleaning back then, wash people clothes to ensure that my bigger brothers went to school. So it's all about the mindset of the people or the parents. But to say the government needs to find some solution, otherwise from path to help parents to, I was on TikTok the other day, and TikTok was some people were saying that probably that need to do like this foreign country that pay people to have kids. Yes, my brother.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. So, policy solutions to address demographic challenges. Addressing Jamaica's declining birth rate requires a multifaceted approach that encompasses targeted policy interventions. Insights from the World Health Organization emphasize the effectiveness of family-friendly policies in that encompasses targeted policy interventions. Insights from the World Health Organization emphasize the effectiveness of family-friendly policies in mitigating the impact of declining birth rates on the economy. Any parental leave benefits, as Brother Alj said, and housing assistance programs can alleviate the financial burden of raising children, thereby encouraging family formation. Additionally, research by the National Family Planning Board underscores the importance of access to comprehensive family planning services in empowering individuals to make informed reproductive choices, contributing to suitable population management. One of the things that I realize these days is, as young people, we always have a mindset where we focus on our education and then family comes after. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah, because I mean, you're going to want to set yourself on a path to get a good career, and getting a good education would lead you on that path. So nowadays, from high school to college, and some might not go to college, might not be able to afford it, and just go straight into the workforce as well too. But nowadays it's more education driven. And even with degrees, it's like a drop of water in the ocean, where a lot of people are having it, and even going out for work and so forth. With the degree, might still be a challenge, might be a lot more competition, in contrast to back then. So it's really driven now, education wise. And yeah.
So, Brother Ronaldo, thank you, Brother LJ. Brother Ronaldo, do you think it is a positive thing when you first do your degree before you start having a family?
Well, to me, I think once you do the degree first, it's better, because the moment you start having kids, it starts to get difficult. Because even if you have a kid that good, sorry about that. Even if you have a child before while you're in school, people always tend to find it very, very difficult to return to school after having that child, because you have a child to take care of, it more expensive for you. And then just look at it, you sending yourself to school and sending a child to school at the same time with a low income job. Yes, exactly. And then you don't have any support, because majority of the time a woman is a single mother. There's no father around. Sometimes there's no family around to give that, to give that hand, to assist. So it really, I really agree with getting a certain level or getting your education before getting a child, because the moment you get a child, everything is not uphill. It go down, because just look at it, your school fees are $100,000. You're sending your child, you're going to try to send your child to the best institution, which is $50,000, say $50,000 a term, and yours is $100,000 a term. So that's $150,000 a term. And then you're working a low income job. You're getting $60,000 a fortnight. When you get that now, you still have to find food, clothes. You have bills to pay. So if you get a child before you finish school, it really hinder you to push you forward, because we can't find job to pay you as much money now. So without the money, we cannot go further, and that will continue to hold us back. And then I strongly believe that the men out there stick beside the woman, because it is hard for a woman to bring forth a child to this earth, and then she ends up doing everything. Come on, man, be godly. And then when we're hardly finding people getting married, young people getting married nowadays. So it's, instead of getting married, you meet up with a little boyfriend, intercourse, you get pregnant by mistake. But at the same time, sometimes I have to tell these ladies thanks, because they did not abort. No man, sometimes some woman, sometimes them do some things and it's mistakenly, but some woman tends to find it hard to abort a child, and I respect the women who bring forth that child, even though it's going to be difficult for yourself and that child. But at the same time, once you have God within your life and you believe in a God, God will move mountain for you. Back to you, Brother John Day.
That is it. That is it. That is it. Thank you so much, my brothers. Thank you. Thank you. So, the fourth question: what role can access to comprehensive family planning services play in addressing Jamaica's demographic dilemma? Brother Alj.
Well, with knowledge comes power, and so it can, with increased sensitization towards everything, towards family planning and towards, family planning, as I just said. It would really help. It would help unwanted pregnancies as well too, in the sense that, seeing the risk factors of sexual intercourse. I mean, some people might do it without contraceptives and would believe that a child will not come forth, but I mean, that is a natural law of life, and in doing that, a child most oftentimes would come. So in getting that education, that sensitization towards family planning, it would help to decrease unintended pregnancies and would better allow couples of all ages to steer their life and to better, have map out everything. Because I mean, even before getting married, I do believe that you should kind of have an idea of how much children you'd want, and in your career path as well too. Let's say you're a teacher or so forth, so you'll know how much you will be making. You make it up to principal maybe the next 10 years or so forth, so you'll be probably making more with that too. So it just kind of, you have to plan your life basically. So family planning on a whole is very important, and it would help the individuals of this country to make a better life for themselves, because there's many barriers and things that kind of make it hard for it.
Yeah.
So I have to just try it out for it, So yeah, back to you.
Right, thank you, my brother. Very informative. Brother Ronaldo, what do you think about the family planning services?
Well, family planning services, it basically lowers the birth rate, on a wide scale. If family planning is to be it will literally, if families tend to put family planning in place for even the teenagers now, will have a lot less teenage pregnancy, because nowadays these 13-year-old, if I might put it there, so are literally sexually active. So if 12, let's say 12. Well, all right. So I am saying, from 12, these young females and males are very sexually active, and sometimes they are not. Sometimes it's not just that they are sexually active; they don't know nothing about contraceptive. No form of protection, but they know how to do. And that is just the mindset that they have, is that me I go do it and nothing gonna happen.
Yeah.
So if you know, or if you have a slight idea, say it is happening, it's best that you put them on get family planning. I know sometimes family planning does have side effects. It has some major side effects. Sometimes it allows female to get big. Sometimes it causes you cannot have any kids in the future. So there are side effects towards everything in life. Yeah. There's a side effect. But if we allow them to continue the path that they're on, we will see a more increased birth rate for teenagers overall, because nowadays we're not finding a 30 or 40, not a 30-year-old that get pregnant like that. We're now finding teenagers, young people are getting more pregnant nowadays, and majority of the time it's unwanted pregnancy. You know, sometimes wrong place, wrong time. You know, and females have a more emotional base where if you look for her until I say about it, it might really and truly affect that child, that woman. Because if you know you're a killer life, I strongly disagree in abortion. So you see, before you get pregnant and have to abort it, or rather, you go on a planning. So say, go up and planning for 6 months because you want baby that time. So you plan the thing how you want it. You understand? So you can do what you want to do, and then people tend to enjoy that part of life without protection more. You know, people tend to enjoy that part of life without protection. So if you're not gonna use protection, patwa, you know, no wrong if me use it, patwa. If you're not gonna use protection, get protected. Simple as that. So we need to understand and know that young females, nothing is wrong with what you're doing. If you're not supposed to do it, you're not supposed to do it. But we understand that you're out in the world, you have friends telling you about it. So you want to experience what your friend is experiencing. So I strongly agree with the birth rate, the contraceptive, you know, bring down the birth level to a certain level until you're able to finance yourself, to take care of a child, to take care of 1, 2, or 3. You understand? It all depends on how much you want, but with a planning, you can plan effectively. You can directly start save towards your child you want to bring forth. So from my perspective, that is where I stand.
Right. Well said, my brother. Well said. I believe that the whole contraceptive thing, I would go against it today, tomorrow, and in the future. The reason why is because, you know, why would a person would not want to have a child? You know, it's a blessing. You know, it's really a blessing. What I go on there, so. Question: how can government collaboration with international organizations aid in tackling Jamaica's declining birth rate?
Alright, so for the last question, the more money that the government and international organizations would put into the country would better healthcare, would better education, and would be able to provide like grants and support to the families. So me knowing that there's proper healthcare and proper education, even the education being subsidized, it would definitely help me as a young person, maybe in a couple years time, having a child and be like, alright, I can now afford this with my salary, with my partner's salary, and you know, it would be more encouraging.
Yes, man.
For
but you know what I am thinking now, when you look at it, you know, if the birth rate gone down to one level where boy you feel like it is too low, pay the woman them to have pitney. Pay the woman them to have no, serious man. Pay the ladies, the women to bring for a child, and you ensure that you're responsible for the child.
But what about those women who are determined not to have a child?
At the same time, encouragement sweeten labor.
Well, you're right.
Encouragement sweeten labor. But at the same time, if them decide say, I go pay a woman to bring forth a child.
Yeah.
A woman I go bring forth a child.
some do that though, like surrogates.
Right.
Yes, man, but now you're going to become a government surrogate.
You know.
But back to the whole point about it is that I strongly believe that the low birth rate that Jamaica is complaining about, it is okay. It's not bad. Because when you look on it, to where it come from, Which party there? It good. If you go below this now, I would consider it low. But where it is okay. For example, if you have 300 pitney born a year, and you get 200 born a year, grateful. Be grateful.
But then no, I agree with you. But then just to play devil advocate, going into the topic that we might touch on next week with the whole violence, and so we have 200 children being born and so forth. But the next batch of children might just pass off, so we kind of need to have more in the same sense too.
No, but the thing about it is having more kids and no money to take care of that kids. That put the kids into the state where we're going to discuss that question next week. So we're not going to give you guys all of what we're saying, but we're giving you a hint on what we're going to speak about next week. Come out and listen for that one. But as we're saying, children are the future, but too much of them are a problem. You understand? And if you realize things are getting intense,
Right.
you know, people are afraid of teacher and so forth again, but with what is going on, we have children having children, you know? So the Bible is fulfilling.
Yes,
the Bible is fulfilling.
You know.
Yes, children
Yes,
having
man.
children.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, we're hardly finding couples getting married and then having children. We either children before marriage, as my friend did tell me, say, you have to test the water first before.
Yeah.
Him tired in that.
A lot of persons say that. A lot of persons.
You know, but what I am trying to get across is that it is not easy for a woman just to have a pitney and nobody know the behind her if you take care of it or help take care of your pitney. You know what I mean? And the government is not. The government work within season. Them have them season when they're very active.
When they mind tell them to.
Yeah, man, there are seasons, like, you know, after a certain time, the government become very, very active because it's coming on to a season.
Yes.
And once it comes on to that season, they will ensure that you have everything. But what happened after that
After that season,
you are left there to starve. But back to what I'm trying to say is that we need me good with the way birth really. You know, next 4 or 5 years, I might add my 3 to the batch, and then, you know, brother John there could has had film holy to the batch.
football team.
And you know, brother Alger will add film bundle to the batch. You understand? But in due time, it doesn't make any sense to have a bunch of kids now. I have a lot of kids now and you can't take care of it. You can't reach to a point where you can say, yes, this is where I am at. And this is where I rest my case for today. Meet back next week when we'll meet next week, same time, same place. Back to brother John Day.
Okay, thank you guys for being a part of this podcast. You said a lot and it was very informative, trust me. So stay tuned, viewers, as we... Let me just say I made a mistake. You know?
Stay tuned, viewers.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Stay tuned, listeners. Oh.
Yeah, I made a mistake. A very big mistake. Should I say?
You can.
Yeah, we cut out them something there, man. Them something there easy to cut out. Well, like all these things can go at the front, you know. All right, see you guys in another video next week. We'll be talking on an interesting topic next week. See you guys until then. GLOWGODLY Podcast.